Mr. Trump in the White House is causing its own degree of anxiety and uncertainty. How are you reading this? And he's already said that on day one, when he comes into office, he is going to make sure that there will be no TPP. That doesn't really impact India necessarily, because we're not a signatory to the TPP to start with. But do you feel concerned today on the commentary that's coming in from the US, specifically from the President-elect, on trade, on global trade, on going back on arrangements that have already been inked and so on and so forth?
Well, on the TPP, till countries ratify it, inclusive of the US, it's not going to be coming into effect. And on the TPP, I'll wait and watch as to what will be Mr. Trump's position after he becomes the president on the 20th of January. But as regards concern of India, regarding the totalization, the visa issues, also the way in which fees are hiked, and in general the impression that Indian industry has that on many grounds they are being specifically targeted. Then the pharma sector's concerns, all of which have already been in detail spoken to the Obama administration, will definitely be the first folder of brief or the dossier that I would expect to give the Trump administration. And after which certainly we'll want to sit with them and talk to them about it. So I would wait for the day when we are able to go with the dossier, talk to them in the new administration.
But do you fear, because there has been a significant amount of convergence under the Obama administration and Prime Minister Modi on contentious issues between India and the US, we may not have made significant headway, but there has certainly been convergence. Do you fear that this new administration may not necessarily see things the same way, that maybe the momentum that has been built will be lost?
I don't think the momentum will be lost, because I think the US administration will realize, and I'm sure they're fairly seized of the fact, that India is a big emerging economy, the geopolitical position of India, the strategic importance of India, and particularly with the developments in the East and the Southeast Asian region, the importance of India cannot be missed out. And I don't think, therefore, now that there is a change in the US administration, India's importance will be lost out. I would think there will be a continuation, if anything, a strengthening of relationship between India and the US.
What about India and the EU? I mean, Brexit has got its own share of problems, and the UK is dealing with that. But what about the EU? Because my last conversation with the EU, the suggestion was that India is not particularly enthusiastic about taking the India-EU FTA negotiations forward.
That's absolutely untrue. We have been wanting to have the chief negotiator come and talk and resume where we left last. On this, the Commerce Secretary once went to Brussels, had a meeting, came back. But I think till about June of 2016, the Brexit was occupying their mind, and perhaps because of that they did not want to get into elaborate discussion with us, because post-Brexit, depending on the outcome, they would have calibrated their position just as we would have calibrated our position. After June 2016, a few months passed for them to, absorb the results. We've had the chief negotiator come on 9th November and have a discussion with us. But I think now the EU's priority is to get the investment agreement going, because we had given them a whole year, just as we gave everybody a whole year, about how the existing agreements would probably cease, and the new ones will have to fall in place from 1st April 2017. And in that, for the given reasons, EU did not probably progress. And the individual member countries cannot negotiate such agreements with any other country, but for them collectively it will be Brussels which does the negotiation. As a result, because of their preoccupation, maybe, they did not get around talking about the investment side of it, because we have a deadline. Now they are expecting India to have the investment treaty talked about, and probably they would want to deal with the FTA later.
Okay.
But for me, I've been waiting for FTA for a very long time.
So there is no meeting ground then between India and the EU. I want the FTA first. They want the investment.
No, they have not said it so. But then I would also, I sense, probably because of the deadline, but I would want all of them to go together.
Understood. Let me end then by asking you, about what we can now expect in terms of more measures. One, more measures to address the issue of corruption, address the issue of black money, because the Prime Minister said that this is only the start and there is going to be plenty more. And two, as Commerce Minister, SMEs, exporters, labor-intensive industries. I mean, this is a country that needs to create jobs, and we are actually losing jobs at this point in time. What should we expect?
Well, on the first thing, the Prime Minister, before the election, during the campaign, and after the election, has been saying that he is committed to the cause of removing black money, answering the people on it, and also on corruption, that he is clean. He's provided a clean administration, and he would want to remove corruption at all levels. And therefore, from the formation of SIT, which was the first step, till this latest step, every few months you've had something or the other happening in terms of removing corruption, bringing black money within, from abroad, and also removing black money within the country. So I'm not, for want of time, I'm not going to elaborate on them. So his, he's very clear that the mandate which was given to us has to be fulfilled, and there will definitely be step after step to ensure that unaccounted wealth and corruption will not be entertained. Benami Properties Act was cleared in the Parliament. Yes. So where it is necessary, that will be used. So that's about the first part of your question. The second, on trade, the revival is not steady. Export revival is not steady. Global situation is not very clear yet as to whether demand will improve. But we are clear that every support that has to be given for the export sector, be it labor-intensive sector, be it the wonderful prospects that startups provide for us, or the export sector which has been traditional for us, IT-related, non-IT-related, automobile, textiles, and many others, gems and jewelry. We will, in our budget, make sure that the Finance Minister continues the support, and if anything, give a newer helping hand. I will be definitely taking this up with the Finance Minister. We do not want to have any let-up. We want to support exporters.
So expect an export-oriented budget on the 1st of February. That is the hope that you're working with. Commerce Minister, always a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you very much for your time and for answering our questions. Appreciate it.
With
that, it is time for us to wrap up this CNBC-TV18 special. From all of us here, goodbye. Many thanks for watching.